question that has fascinated humans and has had us pondering the answer is if we could show aliens or an interplanetary species something to illustrate humanity, what would it be? NASA obviously sent out the Golden Record, which showcases greetings, music, and images regarding life on Earth. Specifically, a question that fascinates me is what movie would we ever show aliens? Director Steven Spielberg cited Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is a great shout as one of the strongest films about UFOs. One that I think I would pick after rewatching it for the first time since I was a child is E.T. the Extra Terrestrial. The world is growing ever more robotic, cold, and distracted by AI, but E.T. captures something that no machine can recreate, which is a deeply human experience. Obviously, the second Alien movie in a soon pseudo-trilogy within the genre for Spielberg, it felt like this shifted quite drastically compared to his work in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. While Close Encounters discusses the phenomenon of UFOs and questioning their intentions, E.T. aims to illustrate a potential connection that humanity can have with extraterrestrial life. The reason I would put E.T. on that golden record is because the film can showcase the best of humanity. What better first impression for an alien to be introduced to Earth and humanity than through that of a child? I love the mystery and suspense that E.T. has in the beginning. It somewhat reminded me of Spielberg's approach to Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. It feels like before time he knew these would be iconic characters that we would remember forever. The way in which he builds to us seeing E.T. properly for the first time, only seeing his hands and little glimpses of him until we get that shot where we see his face for the first time, a creature that is frightened and just wants to get back home. The look and feel of this movie is so distinctly human, and Spielberg employs many creative decisions that 1. Illustrate his mastery of the cinematic craft, and 2. Communicates a lot to the audience about character and intention. One thing here that sadly feels like a relic of the past is that introduction that E.T. has with Elliot. Once the shock dies down, you can believe and see how adaptable a kid can be. He accepts it as reality and wants to be friends with E.T. He shows him his room, and one of the first things he does is show him his toys and how to play with them. In a digital age where a lot of people, children included, rely on devices like phones, tablets, and video games, the idea of playing outside and playing with toys has sort of gone to the wayside now. There was something about this that knocked me right back to my own childhood, playing with action figures. It feels so nostalgic, and I loved this distinctly human element of E.T. and if it had stumbled upon an adult, he would have been experimented on to no end. But with a child, he just wants to play with him and go on an adventure. It's so distinctly human, and it works with creating a bond between the two. To combine with that, the film has a humanistic quality in some of its crafting approaches, such as the production design. The house has mess, which is what you would expect in a house with 3 kids being raised by a single mother working full-time. A lot of movies have very tidy production design, and sometimes going for a look like this made everything feel more homely rather than a sterile or empty home. Everything here speaks to the 80s, and that is a large element of that. Spielberg has always been a master in terms of camera movement and placement, and E.T. has some of the finest examples of that. I love one particular shot of the town. As the camera moves closer to the town, it actually zooms out, revealing more scope while keeping the movement dynamic. The way in which it focuses on smaller details that give so much light to the character fascinates me. Spielberg manages to communicate intention and character dynamics with small technical details. Unlike a modern streaming film that explains the same thing over and over and over again, Spielberg trusts the audience to make its own conclusions and has fun with that. This is clearly illustrated with the government officials utilizing small sound decisions like the keys clinking around. Spielberg doesn't focus on faces or has many prolonged shots of them until near the end of the film, where they start to feel really ominous. I remember seeing when they really insert themselves in the movie, when they break into the home in their astronaut costumes. This scared me to no end as a child. One of my earliest memories of watching a movie stemmed from me crying at that scene because I was terrified. It's hilarious to think back on now, especially knowing that They're not really all that threatening, but Spielberg directs the unknown of their characters so well, and they feel so ominous all throughout this movie. Then we have the most emotionally resonant and powerful moment of E.T., which is the finale. We've connected to this alien and the bond he shares with Elliot. We see them fly on the bike in some of the most iconic imagery put to screen. Then we get that farewell, which is so powerful. It doesn't feel too extravagant, no big action scene, nothing too intense apart from the chase scene that precedes this, but the scene is so emotional because, like Elliot, you've established a real connection with E.T. This connection is built on the foundation of Spielberg's own childhood. He used this film to process his feelings of being alone after his parents split. You never see the father in this movie. The kid doesn't fully understand why he's in a broken home, but he feels the emotion of that. And despite E.T. being something from an alien world, it becomes a friend that helps heal his own heart from the pain that has been caused and brings him closer to his siblings. The finale scene is Elliot having worked through some of those issues and being scared of facing that by himself. E.T. believes in Elliot, saying to him that he'll be here, pointing at his head, and to be good. It feels more than just a goodbye. It feels foundational to the development of Elliot, and once again feels so distinctly human, processing real feelings, real pain, and a nuanced connection between human and alien. As a whole, E.T. is one of the great achievements from the legendary career of Steven Spielberg. He has always taken what he knows most and applies that to the heart of many of his narratives, and what he knows more than anything is his own personal experiences. He can take those emotions and place them expertly into a film in a way that can connect to everyone. You place that within a narrative about how a child can be so accepting of a new reality and adapt in ways that adults could never is so clever. The distinct human qualities about E.T., from its story to its production design, illustrates to me why E.T. would be the first film that should ever be shown to aliens to showcase the very best of humanity.